There are certain places in this world that are meant to be forgotten. Places wiped from the maps, erased from the history books, and buried under millions of gallons of dark, freezing water. Welcome back to Sunken Inside. Today we are undertaking one of our most dangerous and haunting expeditions yet. We are sending our ROV deep into an unnamed American reservoir to find a city that hasn't seen the light of day for almost a century. We are passing 50 feet now. The sunlight from the surface is already fading, turning the water from a murky green to a heavy, oppressive black. Passing 100 feet, the temperature is dropping rapidly. Down here, the pressure is immense, and the silence is absolute. The official story is that this valley was flooded to create a dam, a necessary sacrifice for modern progress. The residents were told to pack up and leave in an orderly fashion. But the rumors, the local legends, say something entirely different. They say the water came too fast. They say the town wasn't evacuated. It was abandoned in sheer terror. We are at 180 feet. The ROV's sonar is going crazy. We are getting massive returns directly below us. Engaging the main halogen floods now. Let's pierce this darkness. Just look at that. Drifting right into the beam of our light is a towering, rust-covered telephone pole. The wires are still attached, drooping down into the abyss. And just beyond it, the skeletal remains of a water tower. We are descending directly into the heart of the city. The water here is incredibly thick with sediment, marine snow falling like ash in a post-apocalyptic winter. Let's stabilize the ROV and bring it down to street level. As the silt clears, you can see the cracked asphalt of what used to be Main Street. It's entirely surreal. We are hovering over an American time capsule, perfectly sealed beneath the waves. Moving slowly along the center of the road, you have to understand the sheer scale of this preservation. To our left and right, the hollowed-out concrete and brick facades of old storefronts are looming in the shadows. The wood has long since rotted away, but the stone and metal remain. Let's push the ROV toward the right side of the street. There's a building here that looks relatively intact. The faded, algae-covered lettering above the doorframe suggests this was once the local diner, the beating heart of this community. We are going to carefully maneuver the ROV through where the massive plate glass window used to be. Watch the umbilical tether. We cannot afford to get snagged on these rusted iron beams. We are inside. The beam of our light sweeps across the room, cutting through the stagnant water. It's chilling. Look at the long surface counter. The heavy metal stools are still bolted to the black and white tiled floor, heavily encrusted in years of aquatic growth. But pan the camera to the back booths. I want you to look very closely at those tables. There are heavy ceramic coffee mugs, thick diner plates, and rusted silverware still sitting on the tabletops. They are cemented to the surfaces by decades of sediment. Over in the corner, a massive rusted jukebox is sinking into the rotting floorboards. This completely shatters the official narrative. This was not a planned, orderly evacuation. People were sitting in these very booths, drinking coffee, living their normal, everyday lives, and then something happened. Something so sudden and so terrifying that they simply stood up, left their meals behind, and ran. What could possibly drive an entire population to abandon everything they owned in the blink of an eye? We are backing the ROV out of the diner. We need to keep moving. The silt we kicked up is ruining the visibility. We are continuing down Main Street, heading toward what looks like the financial district. The architecture here changes. It's heavier, grander. Large stone pillars are emerging from the gloom. This massive structure dead ahead, this has to be the town's main bank. The imposing wooden entry doors have completely dissolved, leaving a wide, gaping maw. We are taking the ROV inside. The lobby is cavernous. You can see the remains of the teller cages. Wrought iron bars twisted and rusted, covered in a thick layer of green and brown slime. The floor is littered with unidentifiable debris. But we are looking for the main vault. It should be at the very back of the building. There, hit the spotlight on that back wall. Look at the size of that thing. It's a massive, multi-ton steel bank vault. But something is horribly wrong here. The vault door is wide open. Let's get the camera right up to the locking mechanism. Look at the heavy steel bolts. They aren't just unlocked. The metal housing around them is warped, violently bent outward. The hinges are stressed to the breaking point. This vault wasn't left open for the flooding. It was breached. It was forced open with extreme, desperate violence. Let's push the camera deep inside the vault chamber. It is completely, utterly barren. The safety deposit boxes lining the walls have been ripped out. There are no gold reserves, no currency, no paper records. Nothing. If this town was flooded by the government, the bank would have been officially emptied weeks in advance. But this destruction, this speaks of a chaotic, frantic heist. Did the desperate townsfolk turn on their own bank in their final hours? Or was the flooding of this town a deliberate cover-up for something much darker? The deeper we explore, the more sinister this mystery becomes. Leaving the commercial center behind, we are navigating the ROV up a slight incline, moving toward the residential outskirts of the city. The houses here are larger, spread further apart. These were the estates of the wealthy. The roofs of these homes have long since caved in under the immense, crushing weight of the water. We can look directly down into their living rooms. We're seeing heavy oak furniture, waterlogged sofas, and massive grand pianos that are slowly dissolving into the mud. Entire lifetimes of luxury, completely erased. But as we drift toward the edge of the neighborhood, the sonar picks up a large, isolated property surrounded by a wrought iron fence. The main house is totally flattened, but the massive, detached, multi-car garage in the back, the structure is surprisingly still standing. The heavy garage doors are partially collapsed inward, leaving a jagged opening. Let's bring the ROV down. We have just enough clearance to squeeze the camera through that gap. It is pitch black inside this structure. The silt is incredibly thick, almost like flying through thick smoke. I'm panning the camera to the center of the garage floor. The spotlight is catching a large, metallic shape. It's covered in a thick, heavy blanket of marine snow, rust, and algae. Let's get closer. Gently use the thruster wash to blow some of that sediment away. Oh my God. Look at the aggressive curves of those front fenders. The massive, iconic, wide grille. I cannot believe what I am looking at right now. Hidden down here in the dark, abandoned in this flooded tomb, is a 1965 Shelby Cobra 427. Let me repeat that. A 1965 Shelby Cobra. This is absolute automotive royalty. It is one of the most legendary, rarest, and most highly sought-after American sports cars ever built in history. And it is just sitting here, rotting away in the dark. Look closely at the side panel. As the light hits it, you can still make out the faint, ghostly reflection of the 427 badge. The hood scoop is packed with mud. The steering wheel is warping. The interior is gutted by the water. But the unmistakable, muscular stance of the Cobra is still there. This car was built for pure, terrifying speed. And now it is trapped in the slowest, most silent place on Earth. Whoever owned this masterpiece, they were incredibly wealthy, and they loved this machine. Leaving a priceless treasure like this behind means they had absolutely no choice. They didn't pack. They didn't plan. They ran for their lives as the water came crashing in. We are going to slowly back the Rove out of the garage now. We need to be careful not to disturb anything else. We are leaving this incredible machine exactly as we found it. A sunken monument to a forgotten era. As we engage the vertical thrusters and begin our long ascent back toward the surface, leaving the ghostly outlines of the city behind in the abyss, you can't help but feel a profound sense of awe and deep melancholy. We came down here looking for simple answers about an abandoned underwater city. But what we found was a complex, haunting puzzle. We found a shattered community frozen in time. We found an empty, violently looted bank vault that hints at a dark conspiracy. And we found an absolute, priceless masterpiece of American engineering left to the mercy of the crushing deep. The official historical records will always say that this town simply died for the sake of progress, a necessary casualty for a reservoir. But the silent evidence we found today in the dark tells a vastly different story. A story of sudden panic, of profound loss, and of heavy secrets that someone intended to keep buried forever under millions of gallons of water. Some mysteries are perhaps too dark to be brought into the light of day. They belong to the deep. But as long as there are lost places, forgotten histories, and sunken secrets resting in the abyss, our cameras will be there to find them. Thank you for joining us on this incredible, chilling journey into the past. If you are captivated by the hidden, silent world beneath the surface, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Until next time, respect the ocean and keep exploring the deep. This is Sunken Inside, signing off.